For the holder of the Triforce of Wisdom, Princess Zelda sure makes some dumb decisions here and there. We're talking big ones too, the kind that can and have cost people their lives. Here are just a few of the most terrible things Princess Zelda has ever done.
Well, excuse me, Princess.
Okay, so there's nothing inherently terrible about a princess donning a disguise, but Zelda assuming the identity of Sheik in Ocarina of Time was still pretty careless and rash. And honestly, it's not like she never revealed the truth about her identity to Link, it's just that she did so while inside the Temple of Time. Since the temple was sacred and positioned right in the heart of Hyrule, removing her disguise immediately blew her cover. This is something that the evil Lord Ganondorf immediately sensed, leading him to capture her right then and there. The fallout from this naive decision almost destroyed Hyrule, and in one of the 3 official timelines it eventually did. Great job, Zelda, you had like one job, and it wasn't plunging Hyrule into ruins. There's almost nothing more peaceful in The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword than soaring through the clouds near the floating town of Skyloft on your trusty Loftwing. The massive red bird that bonds with Link as its rider is actually a Crimson Loftwing, which canonically was thought to be extinct before the hero befriended the beast. It is a fantastic companion for Link during the events of the game, making for a more than adequate stand-in for the hero's trusty steed, Epona. But in the early goings, something happens to Link's animal friend. Namely, it is captured and hidden away by Skyloft's resident bully, Groose. Given that Link and the Crimson Loftwing are so close, Link is able to detect when the bird is nearby, or in this case, isn't. But during a scene near the edge of the floating isle, he tells Zelda that he can't sense his feathered friend. She ultimately refuses to listen to Link's concerns and pushes him off Skyloft and almost to his death. Fortunately, she realizes that he wasn't joking and is able to swoop in with a Loftwing to save him before he perishes. But she almost caused a game over screen pretty early on in the adventure. If you haven't played through The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, then spoilers lay ahead. Consider this your official and final warning.
Spoiler alert!
Early in the game, players encounter the leader of a band of pirates named Tetra. This swashbuckling tomboy is one of the rowdiest characters in any Zelda title. But little do players know until the end that Tetra is actually Princess Zelda. Much like Sheik in Ocarina of Time, Tetra was simply a disguise for this member of Hyrule's royal family. But unlike the aforementioned ninja-inspired alias, this one is much more inconsiderate. How inconsiderate, you ask? Well, at one point during the game, Link sneaks into a shop and finds that she has already broken into the store, tied up the owner, and robbed him of his entire stock of bombs. What exactly she's doing with the explosives is anyone's guess, but it's not hard to imagine that it's nothing all too kind or considerate. When the villainous Zant from The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess finally has the Kingdom of Hyrule on its knees, he offers Princess Zelda the opportunity to choose life or death. So she drops her sword in the hopes that Zant will spare her people from a terrible fate. Now, it's one thing to care for the safety of her people, but it's an entirely different thing to trust the word of a psychopath secretly doing the bidding of the Lord of Darkness, Ganondorf. Of course, Zant then immediately transforms Hyrule into the source of twilight within the world, unleashing all kinds of hideous shadow beasts and causing people and objects to warp in and out of existence. Suffice to say, if Link hadn't come along when he did, then many more people would have died at the hands of Zant and his minions. She may have thought she was protecting her kingdom, but refusing to utilize her powers and fight back against Zant ended up greatly costing those around her. Princess Zelda's character gets a complete overhaul in The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, which is helped by the fact that she's fully voiced for the first time ever by the wonderfully talented actress Patricia Summerset. Much of what Link remembers about the princess is lost as he is resurrected, but gamers can begin to piece together memories of what happened to Hyrule by finding key landmarks and snapping a photo of them. As it turns out, Zelda had the crucial job of mastering her powers in order to work alongside the chosen hero, Link, to keep the menace known as Calamity Ganon at bay. She started her training early as a chaotic force began to emerge ahead of schedule, but she often chose to study, well, other things in Hyrule.
This delicacy is known to have very, very potent effects under the proper circumstances. Ta-da!
Unfortunately, she did so at the expense of learning how to best use her powers as a holder of the Triforce of Wisdom. So when Calamity Ganon did finally emerge, she wasn't prepared. The evildoer quickly took control of Hyrule's robot protectors, the Guardians. This ended up costing almost everyone in the kingdom their lives, all because Zelda would rather gawk at frogs. Should have paid attention in class, girl.
So I really am just a failure.
check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more SVG videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.